August 16th, Park Board meeting to order. Can we have a roll call, please?
Barry,
Here.
Steve is absent. Brad is absent. Corey,
Here.
Shanda,
Here.
David.
Here. Okay, thank you. Move to approval of minutes, July 22 minutes. Take a motion for approval when you're prepared.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, been moved and seconded to approve the July board minutes. Roll call vote, please.
Barry,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Bo,
Yes.
Shanda? Yes.
David.
Yes.
Okay, financial update.
Just a quick update on how we're doing as far as campsite reservations. You can see like the highest year from what I could tell Williams County's ever had is 56,000.
So the highest year we ever had was 2020 at just under 57,000. You can see our 2021 actuals. We budgeted really high, and because I thought we'd get it, and I still think we do. We're almost 53,000, 6,500 away from what our budgeted goal is, and I feel confident we're going to get there. We've had that reservation system makes a difference. I think it makes it so people, as I mentioned before, they don't go and stay for a week at a time, because now I can put in my reservation and go, and know I'll have a site. But we have more people that feel comfortable. Hey, I have a site. So we're getting booked up, especially Little Egypt. It just stays busy. So then moving on, just we've had our biggest month we've ever had for oil royalties. You can see this year we're averaging almost $10,000 a month, which is dramatically up from the last two. We had, but then if you scroll down just a little bit more, you can see we're $12,000 for oil royalties this month, which is the biggest number we've had in over 3 years. So as long as I've been here. So that's about all I have for financially.
Okay, any questions for Jeremy on the financials? Let's move to new business.
Ice machine at Blacktail. I've actually had two different. We talked about this a couple months ago, and I've done some research on it. I've had two different individuals in our community that have come up to me about wanting to purchase a ice machine and work in agreement with us to have an ice machine at Blacktail, which I'm fine doing if we want to bid it out or how we want to do it. I've also gotten pricing for us to just do it ourselves. I think that's something that we should consider. It's there's 3 different size ice machines. I've looked at pricing from 2 different companies. Obviously, we'd have to do some. The ice machines range from $40,000 to $85,000 a piece, and then they produce ice. They produce water. We've already got rural or filtered water. We've already got rural water out at Blacktail. We would have to probably come up with a concrete slab to put down, and then whatever plumbing installation and whatever. So I think the direction I would like from this board is, what I'd like to is, what direction do we want to go? Is this something where we would rather have an outside group come in and be a vendor and provide that for us and work on agreement, or is it something we'd rather just do ourselves? I think that's something we need to move forward with before.
Jeremy, when we enter an agreement with one of them, is it an annual agreement, or?
I've talked more with one than the other, and they have some expectations of us, but they're also flexible and willing to work. But there's some things they want us to do, like they want us to provide the concrete slab. But I think there's flexibility. In the conversations I've had.
I guess the reason I asked that is maybe it's worth trying having somebody rent it just to see how much ice is sold, and then look at the fact of how much it's going to cost us to do it and whether or not it's feasible to do it on our own. I guess would be my opinion.
So does it make sense to put out some type of request for services, request for bid for what they would want? Work with them, work with both of the two individuals to kind of get an idea of what to write it, but what are they gonna provide? You know, like, who's gonna pay for hookups and who's gonna pay for this, and then what's gonna be our cut back? I guess that's,
Well, that would certainly make sense to me, I guess. And is there any other park do you think that would be feasible to have one where we could have one of each?
I would think that down the line, we could do it at Little Egypt, just because of the amount we get down there and the general lack of services nearby. But we'd have to get on rural water first, there.
Did they say how big of a concrete slab they need?
It depends on the size. If we got the smallest one that they have, we could probably fit it to the north of the fire hall. There's a concrete slab right there. The restaurant side there, you know, just outside of that. There's probably a slab just big enough if we had the smallest one machine. If we got any bigger than that, we'd probably have to pour our own slab.
Okay, I was just wondering if it was a size that Makoti would have like a prefab slab that could be just lifted in, you know, so if it didn't work, it could go away or whatever.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I would think for that smaller one, it would be viable. That would be a viable option. You know, I mean, I'd say the smallest one is maybe the size of 2 or 2.5 regular soda machines. You know, about that size. And the biggest one is the one that's just down the road down here. You know.
So these are machines like what Terry Goodrow has?
Exactly the
Okay.
same thing. Yep. So I will, unless you guys want something else, I will spend this next month working with Karen to find out how the best way to write it up or whatever, but also working with the two guys interested and seeing what their proposals are, and then come back.
So for the location for this, it'd be keeping in mind, you know, the future plans, you know, so the traffic will flow, you know, we ain't gonna create a problem
Correct.
down the road.
Right, correct. I think the goal, I mean, if our goal is gonna be to try to have ice ready to go by Memorial Day next year or when we open next year, you know, it's something we could at least plan for and maybe even get the concrete down this fall. And then boom, as soon as we get a chance, put that machine up in the spring. I think that's a viable timeline. But you're right, making sure that it works with because a year later, right, we're gonna make a ton of improvements and changes to that park, so.
Are these machines, Jeremy, just like card only, no cash?
The ones that, like, it can be either way.
I was just curious, because if they're out in a location where there's, you know, hopefully it would, if there's no cash, it would deter
Right?
vandalism, hopefully.
It would be, yeah, I mean, I'm sure we can do it however we want. I've seen machines with both. So I'm sure we can do whatever we want. You know, we do have internet access and Wi-Fi at Blacktail, so that wouldn't be an issue as far as having a credit card. They'd be able to hook right in.
Okay, do we need a motion to just let him pursue it? I don't, just go ahead and get some ideas put together. Okay.
I'll come back with a good report next month.
Okay, move on to speed bumps.
Speed bumps, I think maybe we'll just table that. This is something Brad wanted on the agenda. He wanted it both, I think, at Blacktail to talk about it, the loop around, and then also potentially at some other parks, should we be putting more speed bumps in. So I think we'll just leave that until Brad's here next month, because I know that was something he wanted on the agenda.
Okay, item E, discussion items, reservation system.
It continues to work really well. You know, we ran into a couple of hiccups here, not just with the reservation system, but with just manpower in general. Just because we lost 3 really good staff. We had the 3 college kids that worked for me, or Landon, and the 2 other that worked for me were really great. And then also, I just kind of got, the last 2 weekends, I've been kind of ticked up a little bit. My level of busyness with that World Series. So we've had a couple issues with some people sneaking in and without a reservation, and then all of a sudden we've had someone else show up for the site. We've been able to work through all of them where everyone's been pretty happy. But it's an ongoing learning experience. But I think for the most part, I get lots of positive comments. And I know we're gonna, I mean, it feels like sometimes it's weekly or even daily where we're tweaking things and making it better, but I think that's the way it's gonna go for a little bit here. But otherwise, I think it's good. I think we're definitely going in the right direction with it, in my opinion.
Okay, any questions? Move on to master plan.
I'll let Candace run with this, and then I'll jump in as needed.
Good morning. Okay, well, I'm just here to take any comments or questions that you might have on the master plan, because we do want to get this finalized for you. And so I guess my biggest takeaway when I want to get back from you is just making sure that this plan meets the goals that you set for the process, and that it provides you with the information needed to carry forward through the future, whether it's through this current board or future boards, or as staff maybe, turn over, that it's, comprehensive enough that people will be able to follow this, and that it meets everything that you set as part of your goals when this first started. And along those same lines, if there are any major issues that you saw in the document, those are things that we would want to correct right away. Otherwise, if everything looks pretty good, we just have a couple of cleanup items left, and then to attach all the documents that go into the appendix at the very end. So those are not included in your packet just because they can get pretty lengthy. And it's just basically a summary of all the comments that we took throughout our community engagement process, notes throughout, and, some of those Excel sheets that we use to kind of do the analysis for the different park systems.
Just one question, if I may, Candace, and forgive me for not knowing this and spending the time to look, but all of our campsites, new campsites that we'll have at the parks, are they gonna all have water and electricity?
It is, we kind of put on there as kind of a goal for that, for water and electricity to have at all the campsites. Anything that we have, or that you might have as seasonal, for instance, out at Blacktail, we do recommend maybe you set aside certain sites that have sanitary connections as well, because those make a pretty big difference for seasonal campsites. So again, just kind of the goal. It doesn't mean that you automatically have to do all of those all at once, but there are some of those recommendations in there. And then at Epping Springbrook, you have electricity, but there are some issues with it, so that needs to be upgraded and redone.
So it's up to this board to make sure that we do have them, or don't have them, I guess. My preference obviously would be to have them, but
Yeah. Yep, and then there are recommendations just to follow, the Century Code guidelines, as well as all the different accessibility guidelines, making sure that you have certain sites that are designated as accessible, kind of meeting those requirements as you go through. I typed until I was blind. So- Huh? Oh, yes, yep. And again, I just wanted to make sure that you had exactly what you were looking for when we first started this, and that it's gonna help you kind of implement some of those improvements over time. And as always, we'll be here as a resource, so if questions come up or you need assistance through the implementation process, that's, we do that.
so where do we go from here?
That's when Jeremy comes up with a good plan, we can help him out for phasing these for implementation.
From here, we start planning to do construction at Blacktail. That's what we call for, to begin construction in 2024 and spend between now and there, working with, like I said, Lindsay's new position that she's gonna move into, to get the bids out, get it awarded, get it planned, and have a schedule set for 2024 that, our goals are, hopefully that we can keep that campground available, for Memorial Day, for 4th of July and do some work before, and then after Labor Day, just finish everything up. But work with our contractors, so we have a really viable schedule for 2024. So January 1, 2024 comes, we're already just, it's already wheels in motion. Then 2023, 2024, start planning for the other parks. Keep moving down the line.
Okay, anybody else have any master plan discussion, thoughts?
Okay, then we can go ahead and finalize that up for you, and I'll probably come back to you just for final adoption with all the documents, the appendix included.
Looks great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, parks update.
I'll keep it quick. Blacktail Dam, well, first in general, my maintenance guys, the three guys I have working here based out of Williston have been doing a fantastic job. I have not in the last couple weeks gotten to the parks as much as I like. I've woken up early in the mornings, run through and do a lap and check things out, but they have been doing a great job and they deserve all the credit, definitely not me. I'm really appreciative for their hard work. We've had some couple of headaches here these last couple of weeks. Blacktail Dam, we had the so all the water that we run at Blacktail Dam is on rural water, except with the exception of the fish cleaning station. That is on a well. We had a water line break to that well last week. We haven't addressed it yet, other than we've shut it off and we've ran a hose from our rural water, so the fish cleaning station is still working. But we haven't addressed that water line break yet. At Epping Springbrook, I saw Beth emailed that out. I notified Department of Environmental Quality beginning of last week or sometime last week that I had suspicions that we had blue-green algae. It's the third year in a row that we've had that there, all about the same time. We get into the dog days of summer, it gets hot, it gets stagnant, and we've had blue-green algae. So I notified them, and then they confirmed it. I don't know if Beth got that yesterday or today, but they confirmed that we do have that there. So we have the proper notification up and all of that. Little Egypt, back to water line breaks. So we had a slow leak on the ball joint on a blowout at the end of our thing, a slow leak. We got that fixed, and then we broke a line. And we dug that out and sealed that up, and we broke another line, and then we figured out that maybe we got too much pressure there. So we're getting that all worked through. I don't know if it's because we added that new section of we added 10 new sites or and water with all of them. I don't know if that new section not being added on to the old section has put more pressure on the old section. But we're working through that right now. But that all happened in the last couple of weeks. Other than that, the only other park we did have our concert at Coda Ray on Friday night. It went really well. The band was great. It was interesting. We didn't get many campers, but we got a lot of people that just drove into the park to just watch the band, which I think is still good. The goal is to get awareness and people to come visit our parks. So, but it was kind of weird. We only had, the band camped there, and we had probably only about 5 people camping that night, or 5 groups camping that night. But we still had a really great crowd for the concert. So, that was interesting. All of our concerts have gone really well this year. I'm really pleased with all of them. Otherwise, that's all I have. Oh, I guess the one other thing, it's not so much about parks update. I did mention this to Bo a couple months ago. I do have a family commitment in October that would be over our board meeting time. So we'll keep it on the schedule in case we have something that comes up, and then maybe I'll call in if we have one item or something. But at this time, it's my intention that maybe we won't have that October meeting. Otherwise, that's all I have.
Okay. Any questions on any of the parks? So next meeting, September 20th. I guess if we don't have anything else, thank you guys for everything. Appreciate it. We will adjourn at 10:01.
I am totally impressed.
I tried, Karen.